Yay, football world, football lads world. You know who it is. Tell Boy Diablo, Diablo TV. Like, subscribe, do things you're supposed to do. And the time has come for the Boy Diablo confession. You say, oh, it's an act. Is he really a hooligan? Is he a fake hooligan? So, yes, I'm an actor. But I'm not like a professional actor. That's what I do for a living, and this is like a role. It's more like I'm an aspiring actor. I've done some acting, and this is my culture. This is what I'm into. You know what I mean? My people that know me, in America, the word hooligan, people don't know what football hooligan is as such. A hooligan in America is a guy who goes around getting in fights and drinking and is a wild guy, a brawler and stuff. So yeah, I'm a hooligan, but people already look at me that way. And then with the football hooliganism, I'm the expert of the knowledge. Not the only one in America, but and you know, the clued up. I'm into this, feel me? So I do a type of comedy act, but it's for hooligans. It's not where these people talk like Sacha Baron Cohen and that stupid Grimsby Brothers movie. I just saw it now for the first time, but I never wanted to watch it. My friends don't watch it. That's stupid. It's taking a piss out of hooligans. He's not even a hooligan. He's a scarfer in that movie. It's stupid, you know? So then there's the hooligan factory. Basically, the hooligan genre of entertainment got oversaturated. Too many people writing books and too many people talking up and doing videos and interviews that don't deserve to be, which is where my International Hooliganism Society is going to come into place. We're going to figure out who's who and who deserves to be talking about it. But that'd be in the future. So the thing about it is, you know, like the Hooligan Factory movie, it's comedy making fun of hooligan movies. You know, it got to that point. So the thing is, this ain't that. I'm real with what I'm into and my interests and my passions and so forth. People tell me, oh, Del, that doesn't exist anymore. That doesn't go on anymore. So let's go back in history a little bit, right? Because I'm starting going to football matches. Before people think I just watch Green Street Hooligans. You know what I mean? Nah, I'm 48 years of age. I went to my first football matches, many know, 1979, Fort Lauderdale Strikers. Feel me? And that's George Best was playing with us. That's when I first seen Manchester United and everything like that. The logos and the names. I was attracted to it. I'm talking about 5 years old. You know, so I went, and as you study the history of the Fort Lauderdale Strikers, I went in every era. It died and it came back, died and came back. You know what I mean? I used to go as a little kid, and it came kindergarten, elementary school, and then it died out, and then I went back. I was going matches again when I was in youth programs and everything they would bring us. But that's when I'm like 15 years old, in late 80s and early 90s. And then in the last era, it came back. I went. So let's say that's 2006, I think, when the Fort Lauderdale Strikers came back, right? So Football Factory, I had already seen ID. I had already read Bill Buford Among the Thugs. You feel me? I didn't watch Green Street till later. I didn't want to watch it really. It seemed lame just by looking at Frodo Baggins and everything. Whatever, it's the weakest of all hooligan movies. Anyway, but once I saw Football Factory, the same thing that happened to me is what happened to lads over there. I know my boys, that 2004 say it came out, and let's say I saw it by 2005. I saw it pretty soon when Football Factory came out, and I know that brought hooliganism back. You know, a lot of lads got influenced by Football Factory that are boys that are younger than me and everything, or in my eras, let's say. But either way, it brought a resurgence. So I immediately, now that we got a football club back 2006, I started going to matches, and maybe I used a picture. I was a boot boy, I was a skinhead, you know. That's what I am anyway. You know, so I wasn't into casuals yet. I didn't get the casuals from Football Factory. I just got the hooligan lifestyle, and I tried to put together a little firm. You know, I was my American top team. I was striking coach and Valetudo coach of Pompano American top team. So little by little in the seasons, I ended up getting my team as a sponsor of the team. As a sponsor of the American top team, we had an American top team. We were a sponsor of Fort Lauderdale Strikers. So as a result, we were doing demos there, and we had our stuff up. They were naming us. So now little by little, I moved up to the point where now I'm in the VIP sitting with the management of the team. And eventually I told the assistant manager, I got friendly with him. I told him what I had in mind, because the stadium was kind of decrepit. Hardly anybody went to it. There was a whole back side of it that looked really cool, that we could go have fights there because nobody was on that side. So I told it to the manager and everything. And I had a medical kit with me. I said, yeah, you know, we could get more people into it. There's this other side of it, you know what I mean? And go to the other side of the stadium, and if we had a brawl, you know, I got the medical kit, and nobody will come back, cut it up. And he says, sounds like you're talking about football hooliganism. I said, well, not as such, but And he says, well, I see you've thought it through. You're not just talking about, you know, causing problems. So it kind of like he was open-minded to it. It took me, and I eventually had 7 lads that say that I could get to go to it. I showed them the movie, and they're like, okay, whatever. They followed me, medical kit. And we're supposed to fight against Tampa Bay Rowdies, because that was supposed to be, that's like our enemies, Fort Lauderdale's enemies. They were like 60, 70, but that's some girls and everything, but they're at least 40, 50 lads. I'm there with 7, and I walk over to their end, and I'm doing all the things. I'm doing all the things that I've seen in the movies, you know what I mean? So then, you know, the stewards, the police, whatever, they snitch on me there, and it made me go away from them, from the next to their end where I was. Then they're talking. I'm telling them they're chanting against Fort Lauderdale strikers, cursing at us and everything. Telling them to go across the street. So after the match, they're there, the police had them separated from us and everything like that. And I have my 7 lads, and I'm telling these guys, and they're all chanting against us now in the parking lot, but they're surrounded by cops. I was telling them to go across the street by the warehouses where we could fight. Instead, they called the police on me. Oh, yeah. So I gave up on it. And it's kind of like the same thing has happened here with the Inter Miami. These dudes don't know what it's about. They think it's all a joke, and then they got bitched up already, and they snitched and everything. So the same thing. I had 7 lads, but my guys, they think it's stupid, you know what I mean? There's no fight's actually gonna happen. So going forward now, we go into England and everything. Everybody knows some of my history, and I don't want to be too long-winded about it, but basically this last time I was there, I went there for what I consider to be Plymouth Argyle Derby versus Exeter, yeah, the Devon Derby. And that's the enemies. They hate, that's scum. They hate Exeter. So I hate Exeter because they hate Exeter, yeah? So the thing is, I went there ready to do whatever I had to do. And that day didn't go, you know, exactly how I would have thought it would have went. And I'm going to tell it to you like this. It was old Bill. It was the police who damn near basically saved me from myself. I'm going to put it to you like this. A lot of lads been telling me, other boys that are not hooligans, that are not into football hooligans, they've been telling me, man, that stuff doesn't go on anymore. And I know it does still go on. But basically, they say these kids are winding me up, and they're going through the motions of wearing the clothes. And then I got other lads that I'm friends with. All the guys my age are retired. So they wear the clothes and they turn up, but they're not going to kick off, basically. You know, so I ended up with the younger lads, and I was told to do what they do. And that's a tale for another day. The way they go about it didn't make much sense to me. But basically, I'm in front of the police all day long, chanting and drinking, and basically we're chanting at the police. And I'm interacting with them. I'm not used to doing criminal shit or getting into fights with a bunch of cops around. And our thing is completely different. Skinheads, we're in the underground music. So you get beat to death. You know what I mean? You get jumped. There's no police, and we run the security, or we beat up the bouncers. So there's no police around when we're fighting. It's very different. But anyway, long story short, Jonathan Evans, when I was in Cardiff, Jonathan Evans, Evo, that was a top boy of Cardiff Soul Crew. I met him. I think he's a great guy. I want to meet him more. And by the time the end of the night went, when I did the podcast for the man like CULLAN, MAIS, Central Club podcast, I'll put the link below, and I'll also put the links to Evo and to Anis Abraham, top guys, you know, known guys of Soul Crew. So that man, before the night was over, maybe I endeared myself to him, and he cared about me. And you know, he told me, he said, mate, you seem like a decent guy, you know, whatever he said. He said, here's what I see happening. You're gonna go there with the younger boys, and you're gonna kick off, and somebody's gonna film you fighting, and they're gonna put it on YouTube and spread it. And because of who you are, they're gonna make an example of you, and you're gonna go to prison for 4 years for violent and fray, and then be banned from the country. And the thing about it, I hope that doesn't happen, but I still committed myself towards this. I'm 48 years old, and I went there ready to do what had happened. And when the time came, the police sectioned me off from everybody else, and the other lads went, which I didn't appreciate. But basically, it was a weird interaction with me and the police. But they prevented me from doing what I was going to do, which was going to go smack. I was going to steam straight into Exeter. And they had like 10 guys. They separated me from the rest of the firm. And basically, they said, calm down, Del. Calm down, Del. Basically, I felt like they had pity on me. Like they felt bad for me. They said, mate, you've been wound up by too many movies. You know what I mean? And so bottom line is this. I'm rethinking and everything. Obviously, I'm with the culture. I'm with the comedy. And I like the lads. But am I going to go to UK with the intention of ever getting into a fight, a football fight? No. If it happens if we get attacked. More like going to Europe with my English friends or Welsh friends. That would be where you really have opportunity to kick off. Because, for example, you just had Tottenham and some Luton boys in there, and they went to Marseille. So you start going elsewhere in Europe, and then that's another ball game. But, you know what I mean? It's a lot more to be said But let me just say that I'm gonna focus on the culture and the history and the comedy, and my intention is not to go do any actual violence in UK. So does that make me a fake hooligan? I don't know. I'm with the older lads that are retired, so they're accepting me to represent their culture, so I'm gonna do that to the best of my ability. And I like to preach the word of God, to create a hooligan church. I got a lot of positivity, bring lads together, emphasize the clothes, bring it to America. 2026 World Cup is here, you'll have friends. All right, that's all for now. Cheers.